Thank you all very much for being here. I am Marcia Hansen with the El Segundo Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us for the 19th annual El Segundo State of the City. This event provides a fabulous opportunity to bring together the city of El Segundo, our businesses, and our residents to hear about El Segundo, what has happened in the past, and how we plan to flourish. Will you please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Los Angeles Air Force Base Honor Guard, followed by the national anthem sung by Pamela Taylor, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by El Segundo Mayor Pro Tem Carol Persnick and the invocation by Reverend Dinah Ferguson.
Reason. On.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On. Hold, sir. Hold.
Let us pray.
Holy and loving God, as we gather to hear the state of our city of El Segundo today, we celebrate our past and look forward to our future. Thank you for the memories of what we have been and the vision of what we can be. May we be grateful and aware of our history and hopeful and unfaltering about our future life together. We give you thanks for the strong faith of our ancestors, the friendship of neighbors and relatives, the generous leadership of mayors and council members, commissioners, and all who have worked for our public welfare, the goodness of each one willing to reach out and be of service. We thank you, gracious God, for our city, our institutions and businesses, our places of worship, our neighborhoods, homes, and families. All of these provide for our civic life and sustain our sense of community. Today at the State of the City Luncheon, we ask your blessing on the food we are about to eat and your blessing on the message of our city life that we will hear. Give us gratitude for our past and hope for our future, knowing that the people of El Segundo depend on your constant presence, rest in your grace, and seek to share your love in our city and throughout the world. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you to the Los Angeles Air Force Base Honor Guard. It's always, I get goosebumps every time I watch that ceremony. It was beautiful. Thank you, Pamela Taylor, Mayor Pro Tem Perstick, and Reverend Ferguson. Where you are sitting right now was once wheat and lima bean fields. After the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor in 1941, the local aircraft plants right here in El Segundo were covered with camouflage nets, and anti-aircraft crews lined the coast as the city of Los Angeles darkened at night to protect its citizens. It's quite a journey from the Douglas Aircraft Company manufacturing airplanes in 1932 for the Navy, who owned this property you're sitting on, to the Air Force acquiring the base in late 1962, to a facility modernization initiative in 1977, which led to this beautiful base, and we are very proud, 1997, which we are very proud calls El Segundo home. We are very grateful and honored today to be the guest of the Los Angeles Air Force Base in this beautiful facility. Just a bit of housekeeping. The base prefers no photos are taking. However, we will have photos available at a later time for you all. Also, for those of you sitting behind a pillar, please don't move the pillars, but you can move your chairs. So during the program, if you would like to move your chairs and adjust so you can see everything, please feel free to do so. Today, as we celebrate our community and all the big ideas, they take off here every single day by many of you who make those ideas take off. The base has a program called Someone You Should Know. While we were researching news articles for today's events, we ran across someone you all should know. On your table, you might be surprised to find a wonderful memory from your childhood, an Astropop. You guys see those Astropops? Astropops were first made in 1963 after two rocket scientists working on the space program in El Segundo, California, decided to quit their jobs and create the Astropop, modeling the pop after a 3-stage rocket. They hand-built equipment, including machines, to speed up production of the cone wrappers. Astropops are unusual because the cone wrapper mold becomes the mold for the candy. Hot candy is poured directly into that wrapper, then a paper stick is added, and the pop is capped off with a layer of wax. Because Astropops were created in the 1960s, at the time in history when the space race was in full force, millions of Astropops were sold when the manufacturers capitalized on them. And it all started right here in El Segundo, where big ideas are taking off every single day. So little trivia you can use the next time you're at El Segundo Brewing Company. Those two scientists from 1963 couldn't be here today, but we do have some very special guests, which I'm honored to introduce. First of all, Mayor Drew Boyles and his wife Lee. I almost changed that up there. El Segundo Mayor Pro Tem Carol Perstick. El Segundo Councilmember Don Brand. El Segundo Councilmember Scott Nickel. El Segundo Councilmember Chris Pimentel. City of Lawndale Mayor and representing Assemblywomen Autumn Burke, Robert Pullen Miles. Commander of the 61st Air Base Group at Los Angeles Air Force Base, Colonel Ann Eigel. El Segundo Board of Education President Nancy Cobb. El Segundo Board of Education Vice President Dr. Jeannie Nishimi. El Segundo Board Member Tracy Miller-Zarnicki. El Segundo Board Member Paulette Caudill. Wiseburn Unified School Superintendent Dr. Blake Silvers. El Segundo City Manager Greg Carpenter. El Segundo Fire Chief Chris Donovan. El Segundo Chief of Police Bill Whalen. Deputy City Manager Barbara Voss. Representing Congressman Ted Lieu, Daisy Paniagua Uribe, and Nicholas Rodriguez. I finally got her name right. That was exciting. Alina Webro Benson, representing Senator Ben Allen. Jennifer Lamarck, Deputy for LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn. We have our El Segundo Citizen of the Year here, Richard Croxall. And I have to introduce the first mother, Drew's mom, Valerie Smith. That's the first mom right there. So it's time to enjoy a wonderful lunch buffet from Harborview Catering. Linda and I will be around to release the tables to the buffet. We have 2 stations with 2 lines on each side, so it should move quickly. We hope you enjoy your lunch, enjoy chatting with each other, and we'll be back with you in a bit. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. We want to thank Harborview Catering for a wonderful lunch. Big round of applause. And again, we would like to thank the Los Angeles Air Force Base and Harborview Catering for their incredible hospitality. They have gone above and beyond in helping us orchestrate the 2019 State of the City, and there really aren't enough words to express our gratitude. I would now like to welcome to the podium El Segundo City Manager Greg Carpenter.
Thank you, Marcia. Welcome to the State of the City. I have the pleasure of introducing our host today. Besides being the city manager, I'm an honorary base commander. I like to throw that title around a lot with my family members. Goes a lot farther than the city manager title, but I do have the honor, the privilege of being the city manager, the honor of being an honorary base commander. Our host today is the actual base commander, Ann Eigel, Colonel Ann Eigel. She commands the 61st Air Force Air Base Group, which in a lot of ways is like running a city. Ann is responsible for 850 personnel, an annual budget of $60 million, $1.3 billion worth of physical plant. She's responsible for communications, civil engineering, medical care, chaplain services, security, logistics, personnel, readiness, and quality of life services for this base, Fort MacArthur, and the Space and Missile Systems Center, and other Department of Defense units in LA County. Colonel Eigel received her degree from the Air Force Academy in 1996. She's had a variety of assignments in different roles, including major command, combatant command levels, the air staff. Most recently, Ann served as a senior military assistant to the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Manpower and Reserve Affairs. She has served as the principal military advisor on full spectrum total force organization and management, policy formulation, human capital strategy and development. I'm not done yet. Legislation and civilian matters. Additionally, she is deployed to Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait. She has served at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and we're very lucky to now have her here in El Segundo at the LA Air Force Base. So it's my pleasure to introduce our host, Colonel Ann Eigel.
All right. Good afternoon. And on behalf of Lieutenant General Thompson, I am so honored to host today's event. How many people have seen the new Captain Marvel movie? I went out this last weekend and I saw it, and the main character is a female Air Force Academy graduate, much like myself. All right. In the movie, The main character, Vers, has a series of flashbacks, and I won't divulge why, but during one of the flashbacks, you can see many of El Segundo's landmarks, including things like Maple Avenue, the Metro train, and the LA Air Force Base area. It shouldn't be a surprise that they use sites from LA, but it's pretty special that they had scenes familiar to everyone here at LA Air Force Base. And if you pay close attention to one of the scenes, you may even see a look-alike photo that shows Captain Marvel and a distinguished-looking Air Force general that looks strikingly like Lieutenant General Thompson. I kid you not. In another of her flashbacks, you see Captain Marvel on an obstacle course at the Air Force Academy, and I thought to myself, man, I am so proud that I did that. But little did I know it was preparing me to fight aliens from outer space. But seriously, this isn't a movie review of Captain Marvel. It is a great movie, but we're here today to hear the mayor speak about the state of the city. And along those lines, that I thought it would make sense to speak about the state of LA Air Force Base for just a few minutes prior to introducing our great mayor. LA Air Force Base has a strong heritage and a shared history with El Segundo. The Space and Missile Systems Center traces its ancestry back to the Western Development Division of the Air Research and Development Command, activated on 1 July 1954, and also to General Bernard Schriever. Originally set up in Inglewood, California, it was later redesignated the Air Force Ballistic Missile Division on 1 June 1957, and subsequently moved into buildings right here by LAX. A research and development center was set up on the southeast corner of Aviation and El Segundo, which is now Holmes, and the Air Force took control back in 1962. The organization's original mission was to develop strategic missiles for the Air Force. The Air Research and Development Command added the responsibility for developing the first military satellite system on 17 October 1955. Many of you, when you walked by the sign in front of the armory right outside in our courtyard, you would have noticed today, this beautiful sign was literally just upgraded last week, and it represents and honors General Schriever by recognizing SMC as the Schriever Space Complex. With General Schriever's leadership, we started a long tradition and legacy of protecting and defending the high ground for our Air Force and for our nation. And El Segundo has been with us since the beginning. Many of you are part of the companies that have contributed to the Air Force space assets that have been a vital element of our nation's warfighter for decades. In many respects, today's warfighters, they don't understand the battlefield without those space capabilities. Right here in El Segundo, where SMC is now located, we have major defense contractors like Boeing and Raytheon and Aerospace and Northrop Grumman. But we also have great companies like Chevron and the Lakers Sports Complex and wonderful restaurants, churches, police and fire departments and schools, just to name a few. And most importantly, we count on your support for our military and our retirees. Each of you allows the base and the personnel assigned to this base to contribute to helping us develop the next generation of world-class space capabilities for America and our allies. The defense contractors' proximity to LA Air Force Base and their program office counterparts provides an opportunity for integrated development efforts between government and contractor teams. Getting the government teams into contractor facilities enhances communication between SMC and our defense contractors, where both sides acknowledge the benefits of sharing the neighborhood. There are 63 large programs managed at SMC with an annual budget of over $7 billion. General Thompson has the largest portfolio in the Air Force for space. As our adversaries continue to move fast in this environment, we have recognized that it's time for a new approach on how we do business. The Space and Missile Systems Center, which is the lead acquisitions organization for military space, is transforming to challenge this threat. That effort is called SMC 2.0, and it's going to increase resiliency, lethality, efficiency, and deliver speed of space systems. 5 distinct tenets will drive change within SMC, and they are enterprise, partnership, innovation, culture, and speed, which stands for epic speed. SMC 2.0 targets a flatter organization with delegated authorities and aligned roles to increase decision speed and accuracy, and every mission set in SMC is focused on making this a priority. From search and rescue operations to detecting missile launches by our adversaries via our SBIRS and DSP satellite constellations, SMC provides the end-to-end resources and support of the defense of our nation. All of this is made possible by what we do here at SMC through the launch services SMC certifies and acquires for the DoD to make sure that the United States has assured access to space and at the best cost to the U.S. taxpayer. Your great city provides phenomenal support to the approximately 6,000 individuals that LA Air Force Base employs. An amazing number given the small footprint of the base here. In fact, if you double that number, the base presence here has created an additional 12,000 plus indirect jobs due to our presence, from hotels to restaurants to small businesses, which in turn supports the community. In fact, at LA Air Force Base and Fort MacArthur, we service over 200,000 personnel in the greater Los Angeles area, from our active duty to our reserve, guards, sister service, and retirees. We have an incredible impact on the local community, and so we really appreciate the amazing relationship and support that we receive. The total economic impact of the base on its economic area is estimated at about $2 billion each year. Wow. Before I wrap up my portion and introduce the mayor, I want to mention an event that we're planning towards on 19 October of this year. Our installation down in San Pedro, Fort MacArthur, is turning 100 this year, and we're going to host an open house to celebrate that 100 years. We all know that turning 100 is a major achievement. If you aren't sure how to partner but you want to help with something, then let my Airbase Group team know so that we can make this event one we can all celebrate and be proud of. We're going to have booths and crafts and bouncy houses and parades. It's going to be great. Speaking of fantastic fun, going back to Captain Marvel and that discussion that I had in the beginning, I know your companies develop some really cool gadgets. And many of those gadgets we can't even talk about. But I know one of your companies is developing something amazing, like the intergalactic comm system that Captain Marvel had on her wrist during the movie, because you're building amazing products for our nation right now. And we thank you. Keep up the good work defending America. Now it's my honor to introduce our own Marvel character, Mayor Drew Boyles, AKA Tony Starks. Mayor Boyles is an entrepreneur with a broad background in management consulting and corporate leadership. He earned his bachelor's degree while fully enlisted in the U.S. Navy. We're going to have to forgive him for not going Air Force on that. After the military, the mayor quickly progressed through the leadership ranks at Brunswick Corporation and Starbucks Coffee while going on to get his MBA at USC in finance. Mayor Boyles has co-founded startups, franchises, and dot-com companies. His latest ventures involve a patented consumer product for the action sports industry and bringing a best-in-class wave pool to Southern California. I know my daughters would love that. Speaking of family, Mayor Boyles' personal passions are spending time with his wife, Lee, who we're lucky to have joining us today, as well as his 5 children. When it comes to leading, Mayor Boyles has served in various leadership capacities with the Entrepreneurs Organization, including president of the LA chapter and the U.S. West Regional Director. He is a board member for The World is Just a Book Away, which builds libraries for impoverished children in Mexico and Indonesia. After serving as chairman of the El Segundo Economic Development Advisory Council, Mayor Boyles was elected to the El Segundo City Council in 2016 and was immediately seated as mayor pro tem, and then was chosen as the mayor in 2018 by his fellow council members. During his time on the council, Mayor Boyles has emphasized bringing performance-based and private industry techniques to government, driving economic development, and fostering nimble, effective communication and leading responsible fiscal strategies, all while ensuring residents and businesses have a place where they love to come, live, work, and play, right? And here he is to tell us more about the goals that have impacted El Segundo in today's State of the City address. But before I hand the mic over to him, it really is such an honor to be here. The 61st Air Base Group, we're considered the Knights. And so in a military tradition, we have coins that we give out to special people that we want to thank for what they do. And so it would be my honor to give my coin here to the mayor and say thank you so much for letting us host this event today.
Hello. There we go. Colonel Eggle, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I just want to point out this is, in fact, my superpower finger. So, no, it's not actually. For those of you that know me, there's probably some crazy adventure escapade that transpired with this. But I want to thank the Colonel and LA Air Force Base, everybody for being here today and supporting us with this incredible facility named in honor of Mike Gordon, past mayor, who was instrumental in keeping the base in El Segundo. For me, and I know for Councilmember Pimentel as well, we relish the days that we were in uniform. It is an absolute honor to be back on base again. Thank you very much. And I want to welcome and thank all of you for coming to celebrate El Segundo. You know, I'm pretty good at estimating crowd sizes, and this is the biggest ever assembled. It's huge. I mean, it's the biggest, most incredibly tremendous crowd ever. It's really very fantastic. No, all kidding aside. Come on, Colonel got laughs? I don't get any laughs? I know he is the commander-in-chief. It's a little, okay, but anyway. So, in all seriousness, I want to thank the Chamber. Charles Gale, are you here? Chamber President? No, but thank you for your leadership with this. Chamber President and CEO, Marcia Hanson, where are you at? Great job, Marcia. Linda Johnson, who wears many hats in the city of El Segundo. Small but mighty team. Where are you at, Linda? She's here. Thank you very much. And I want to thank some past mayors who've laid the foundation for this small and mighty town. Sandy Jacobs. Where's Sandy? Incredible mayor and mentor of mine. Thank you, Sandy. Carl Jacobson. Did Carl make it today? Carl, thank you for being here, sir. Many years of service, 30 plus for our great city. Did I get that number right? Yes, thank you. Suzanne Fuentes, former mayor, thank you for being here. Still protecting our interests as it relates to military and aerospace. Thank you, Suzanne. And Eric Bush, did Eric make it today? Eric, where are you at? Eric, thank you for being here as well. All right. So what we're gonna cover today is we're gonna do two things. One is we're gonna reflect on the past year and everything that we've accomplished in our town in the last year, and it's been a lot, numerous things. And they're all aligned with 5 strategic objectives. And those strategic objectives or imperatives have been worked on for the last 3 years. They've been consistent back when Suzanne was mayor of this town. So the video that I'm going to show you that is really showcasing our city's leadership, the council, the department heads, it's going to look backwards. What have we done for the past year? And then I'm going to get up here and I'm going to talk about what's coming ahead. So for the 2019, what are we doing in terms of work activity to support those 5 strategic objectives? So, Greg, I'm going to jump off the stage here. Let's roll the video, and then I'll come back and talk about what's in store for 2019. Thank you. Let's see it.
We're dedicated to making the city of El Segundo the best place to live, work, and to visit. The El Segundo City Council takes a strategic approach in leading the city. We're proactively gathering insights and setting benchmarks based on input from our residents and our businesses. We're making responsible budget decisions with an eye on fiscal challenges in the future. We've established 5 key goals, which are enhance customer service, engagement, and communication. Support community safety and preparedness. Develop as a choice employer and workforce. Develop quality infrastructure and technology. And finally, champion economic development and fiscal sustainability. The City Council and Department Directors are excited to share this year's accomplishments with you as we move forward to fulfill our city's vision of being the hub of innovation, where big ideas take off.
Resident and customer service is a top priority for any organization, and the City of El Segundo is no exception. El Segundo is focused on improving our customer service throughout the city. We're gathering feedback from our community and using that data to make strategic improvements. The way we communicate has changed significantly over the past decade, and our city is taking steps to meet the public's increased demand for consistent and accurate communications. El Segundo is grateful to the members of our commissions, committees, and boards for their valuable time and guidance. We are working to clarify the roles and responsibilities to make these groups even more effective and efficient. We pledge to you to continue to strengthen and improve communications to ensure excellence and unparalleled service.
We are in the process of establishing a new citywide communications program. The goal of the program is to improve communications between all key stakeholders in the city and ensure that communications are consistent, proactive, and collaborative. Clear and timely communications will improve efficiency, trust, understanding, and engagement among residents, visitors, employees, and businesses.
Finance implemented an online business license renewal system that has greatly enhanced the customer experience and streamlined the entire process for the business community. We completed a second year of surveying our residents and businesses using the Net Promoter Score, a management tool that gauges customer satisfaction. This feedback will be incorporated into the annual strategic planning process.
In an effort to rebrand the department to energize our programs, Recreation and Parks updated our mission statement, created a motto, identified core values, and unveiled a brand new logo. The new motto will be an underlying guidepost to our daily activities to engage, inspire, and play. We continue to improve our interaction with the community on social media and increased our followers on Facebook and Instagram by 66%. To make it easier for the El Segundo residents to use our facilities and sign up for programs, we implemented a new online registration system where you can reserve a park facility or sign up for a class with just a few clicks on your phone. Our fantastic summer camps continue to thrive. Last year, we increased revenues by 90% by offering 120 different summer camp options for a wide variety of age groups and interests.
At the library, we updated technology and infrastructure for better customer service in partnership with IT and Public Works, including improving Wi-Fi access, offering online booking of our meeting rooms for the first time, and installing self-checkout kiosks, mobile printing, and public scanners. We also recently remodeled a section of the main library in order to increase seating and connectivity for our patrons and installed new tables and chairs in our children's section. We introduced many new library programs this year, including a bilingual story time, meditation and yoga in Library Park, and a genealogy club. We partnered with ESMOA for our first living library, which offered guests the opportunity to have one-on-one conversations with people with unique perspectives and life experiences.
The City Clerk's office continues to achieve our goals through training our employees and myself. We conducted our last successful standalone election in April of 2018. Our future elections will be consolidated with Los Angeles County. Our next local election will be held in March 2020. We look forward to partnering with the community to prepare for this new election format.
As El Segundo attracts new businesses, it's critically important that our city is recognized as being business-friendly. At Planning and Building Safety, we're continuously looking for opportunities to improve the overall customer experience. Being a small city, we're able to be nimble at all levels: staff, commission, and most importantly, the council. This ability, I believe, is one of our greatest assets.
One of our greatest strengths is that El Segundo is an extremely safe city. We have our dedicated public safety team to thank for this. Ongoing investment in technology, training, and equipment provides the men and women who protect our community the resources they need. In the event of an emergency, the City of El Segundo is actively training a multi-layered team of employees and citizens to work alongside our highly skilled public safety personnel to manage, respond, and recover. Our El Segundo police officers and firefighters are working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to ensure our safety. We are truly grateful for their service.
The El Segundo Police Department continues to focus on the safety and security needs of the future. In 2018, we created a crime analyst position that will provide statistics and data to our officers. This critical information will allow us to have real-time situational awareness of crime and quality of life issues impacting our community. We recently completed a department reorganization, and I can tell you this new structure will enhance our ability to serve our community. As part of the reorganization, we created a community engagement division, and this division will consolidate all of our outreach efforts under one lieutenant so that we can really maximize these efforts. In 2018, we conducted 39 community outreach and crime prevention efforts. We engage in community outreach because this is the only way we can be successful. We have an extremely supportive community and one deserving of our highest levels of quality service. Sir Robert Peel, considered by many to be the father of modern law enforcement, said it best: "The police are the community, and the community are the police."
The ability to respond quickly and mitigate any emergency defines success for the El Segundo Fire Department. Last year, the community support allowed for investments in equipment, technology, and training to protect the lives, property, and the environment from all risks. We installed a pre-alert dispatch system, decreasing our response time to 4 minutes and 32 seconds, well below the national average of 7 minutes. We conducted over 30,000 hours of in-service training, maintaining our operational readiness. And for the first time ever, the fire department passed a rigorous state environmental safety audit with 0 major findings. Finally, focusing on the business sector, we held ongoing training for the community, which included 2 hazardous material handling classes, all free of charge. We are dedicated to the community, and the El Segundo Fire Department stands ready, continuing to follow our motto, courtesy and service.
The city strives to provide the highest quality programs and services. We can only do that if we are able to attract and retain the best people. Our goal is to be an employer of choice with a world-class workforce. We hire for the future, celebrate achievements, and encourage innovation so that our workforce is inspired and engaged. Our human resource team will lead the way towards recruiting the most qualified new hires and offering our existing employees new opportunities and programs so our workforce continues to develop at the city.
The Human Resources Department is dedicated to employee development, training, and engagement. Last year, we launched a Leadership Development Academy to offer employees at all levels the opportunity to learn the skills needed to become our future leaders. We hosted our first ever Mid-Managers Retreat to create a forum for that important group in our organization to improve the daily operations of the city. We want our employees to feel inspired and engaged when they come to work every day, and we want to provide them with the opportunity to grow their careers here at the city. For example, last year we hired 23 people and promoted 8 internally. We are doing more to celebrate and recognize the hard work and accomplishments of our stellar staff, and we're focused on employee engagement, wellness, and professional development.
It is becoming more and more difficult to attract qualified men and women to become police officers. Every police department in the state of California is actively seeking quality people to join their ranks. To attract the very best police officers, the El Segundo Police Department is offering a very generous recruiting incentive of $25,000 for qualified applicants with police officer experience. Our goal with this incentive is simple. We want the best of the best.
Investing in our physical infrastructure assets is vital to the well-being of our community. Information systems and state-of-the-art technology ensure effective, efficient, and proactive municipal operations. The city recently celebrated the grand opening of the highly anticipated $13.8 million City of El Segundo Wiseburn Aquatic Center. The opening capped several years of teamwork, fundraising, and collaboration. This Olympic-caliber facility will be used by students at El Segundo and Wiseburn High Schools, in addition to the city's Recreation and Parks Department and local swim and water polo clubs.
The Information Systems Department creates opportunity and encourages engagements through the use of technology. We implement solutions that make our city more efficient and streamline interaction with our residents and businesses. We launched a series of projects to ensure the city's people, processes, and technology are operating at their highest level. More than 20 projects were implemented for new and to improve existing technology to enhance services and communication in all departments of the city.
As part of our annual concrete improvement project, we replaced nearly 2,000 feet of sidewalk and 1,300 feet of curbs and gutters. We're in our 3rd year of our 5-year pavement management plan, and this year we invested $1.2 million to repave a dozen of our streets. We also completed a major portion of our sewer system master plan with the rehabilitation of Pump Station 1 and consolidation of Pump Station 7. We are in the process of implementing automated waste collection and recycling services. This initiative will not only encourage waste diversion to meet the state's recycling requirements, it will save the city $1.8 million over the manual collection bid over the next 10 years. We installed removable steel bollards on Main Street to utilize during farmers markets and other downtown events, bringing an extra layer of safety for our residents and visitors.
To ensure fiscal stability, Council maintains a balanced budget. We're taking steps now to solve future structural deficits and maintain reserves. Actions that City Council has taken over the past 2 years to reduce our pension liabilities have saved the city $6.2 million. These efforts will protect the long-term stability of the city through the economic uncertainties of the future. Our Economic Development Advisory Council is a model of public-private collaboration. Due to the marketing efforts that began over 5 years ago, El Segundo is now on the map more than ever. We are diversifying our industry base through our business attraction efforts, welcoming new companies from innovative startups and creative media to biotech giants. We've become the most important 5 square miles economically in all of Southern California.
We have become one of the most sought-after commercial real estate markets in Southern California. Over the past 10 years, more than 2.5 million square feet have been occupied by companies choosing to relocate to El Segundo from other markets within Los Angeles County. Last year, we welcomed many prestigious new companies, including Chicken of the Sea, Moose Toys, Cross Campus, Sojitz Aerospace, and the Los Angeles Times. We saw significant expansion at Boeing, the Los Angeles Kings, Beyond Meat, Kite Pharma, Quest Nutrition, and Textile. We continue to work to attract new businesses to our city and have rebuilt our economic development website, elsegundobusiness.com, to include a database of all the businesses in the city, available properties, and new developments. We launched our new hospitality and tourism campaign, Start Here, inviting travelers to visit El Segundo and experience our shopping, restaurants, attractions, and hotels. The campaign focuses on digital advertising and promoting our new hospitality and tourism website, destinationelsegundo.com. Our Public Works Department recently changed the name of Sepulveda to Pacific Coast Highway to emphasize to visitors near and far that we are a beach community. We look forward to continuing to welcome new businesses and visitors to our city.
Consistent with being one of the hottest commercial markets in the region, last year was another busy year for planning and building and safety. There were roughly $200 million in construction projects. Approximately 2 million square feet of commercial spaces were improved or repurposed, and about 500,000 square foot of new commercial spaces were built out. Just some of the major projects completed last year are 555 Aviation, 777 Aviation, 1700 East Imperial Highway, 2330 Utah, Frank Gehry's building. Smoky Hollow's specific plan was completed last year. It's important to create opportunities and flexibilities to enable businesses to thrive in our city. With the new specific plan, Smoky Hollow is now ready to take off. I believe the city will reap its benefits for years to come.
The Treasury team, with its staff of 3, is responsible for all the cash management and investment activities for the city. Treasury also invests over $78 million for the city. We do this by purchasing a variety of fixed income securities to ensure the city has sufficient liquidity to pay bills while keeping our funds safe and well diversified. Last fiscal year, we earned over $1.2 million for the city.
The city is committed to maintaining a structurally balanced budget and healthy reserves. The Finance Department implemented strategies to shrink our pension liabilities and continue on a sustainable financial path to solve future fiscal challenges. Due to the passage of Measure C, if the countywide sales tax rate is increased in the future, the city will be able to act to keep the increased sales tax revenue generated from sales in El Segundo here in the city. This is a great win for the residents and businesses of El Segundo.
An engaged community, residents who love our town, safety preparedness, a top-notch workforce, quality infrastructure and leading technology, and healthy economic development sustained by a balanced budget. All of these combined forge who we are. We are El Segundo, where big ideas take off.
What'd you guys think? Pretty good? All right, who thinks the Oscar nomination needs to go to the guy coming out of the trash can, Ken Berkman? Ken, where you at? Who would have known? Great job, Ken. I think everybody agrees. That was phenomenal. I want to thank El Segundo TV. You guys did a great job. Darnell, Robert, Stevie, Ryan. I know I'm forgetting someone. Let's give them a hand. Great job on the video. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We're going to get into the, that was, as I mentioned, that was going to be looking backwards. What have we done within the last year tied to our 5 strategic objectives? Now we're going to look at what are we doing in the future. But before we do, let's jump ahead, if we could, to the slide that talks about the Creative Economy Report. We've already talked about these 5 goals, so we can move on beyond those, please. These are all featured in the video. All right, this just came in, so I figured it was interesting to share. I'm not going to talk about those stats. You can read those, but here's some interesting things. So we commissioned Beacon Economics to do the first ever El Segundo Creative Economy Report. And they looked at creative sectors, architecture and related services, entertainment and digital media, creative good and products, and fine arts and performing arts, and then fashion. Not surprisingly, 55% of the creative services jobs in El Segundo are in entertainment and digital media. Where are my friends Mike Mothler and W. Promote? You get that better than everyone. These guys have moved 5 times in El Segundo, started in Mike's dorm room at Dartmouth. We're seeing more and more companies like that coming into El Segundo. The El Segundo creative worker earns 40% more than LA County creative workers. Another interesting stat. There are 262 creative firms just here in El Segundo. That's up 36% from 2008, so that's significant. But even more remarkable is that's up 13% over 2017. So we're in an increasingly growing pace in terms of bringing new creative firms into our town, which is great. Another interesting stat, 0.2% of LA County population is here in El Segundo, but 1.4% of the creative workers are here in El Segundo. So it's pretty interesting. We knew that we had this increasing presence in creative media, and we wanted to study that. So we're going to use this information to continue to improve what we can to make it as great as possible locating those types of companies here. Goal 1, enhancing customer service, engagement, and communication. When it comes to communications, we realize that we need to be more nimble, more responsive. We need to anticipate better than we ever have before. When there's an incident anywhere in our town, we need to beat the constituents to that message. We need to leverage new technology to be on demand with information when people need it. So we're working really hard in that regard. We've got a new city website coming. We're focused on new applications to reach, new technology to reach our constituents. And El Segundo and TV are going to be there along with us to help. And we're embracing social media wherever we can because we know that's what people expect. They expect to be informed on those platforms. We're migrating online wherever possible. We've already done it, as Joe mentioned, with the business permits. We're going to be doing it wherever we can. Wherever we can take a manual process and move that online and get efficiencies, we're going to do so. The library is continuing to evolve. Where's Melissa? She's doing an incredible job. Thank you, Melissa, Director of the Libraries. They've already, yes, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. Her and the Library Board of Trustees and Sari Brand and others have been working really hard to transform and adapt to what our people expect out of the library, embracing digital and technology unlike ever before. There'll be more of that. Another thing that's interesting about this goal is that we have 10 committees, commissions, and boards in El Segundo. Those are mostly made up, some business community members, but mostly residential members. So those are people that live in El Segundo, that care so much about our time, like Dick Croxall here, that have just won Citizen of the Year. Congratulations to you last year. Great job, Dick. People like that care so much about this community that they're going to give back and commit their time. So it's when you talk about an engaged community, that fits right in. Moving on to supporting community and safety and preparedness. This is really paramount. You could argue that this is our first and foremost goal as a city council and as a city. What can we do to protect our residents and our businesses? Well, we're going to reduce crime. You heard from Chief Whalen. He's bringing us perspective from the city of Irvine. He's introduced some really interesting things. We've got that $25,000 lateral recruiting tool. We're going to hire the best. We're going to use predictive crime analytics more than ever to understand where and when crimes are likely to happen. In fact, that's already happened. A couple months ago, there was a crime that they suspected would happen in a shopping center in El Segundo within a certain time frame. Police officers showed up. Sure enough, they caught the culprits. True story? So we're going to do more and more of that in El Segundo. Congratulations and thank you for that. We're going to use drone programs, automated license plate readers, and other technology to get ahead of the criminals. We're going to improve redundancy. We're going to a platform called FirstNet. FirstNet is a secure voice and data platform that will allow us to communicate with everybody that we need to in crisis, even if all the other networks are down. It's in partnership with AT&T, and it's rolling out later this year. Is that right, Chief? Yes, thank you. The INSB, which is the Interoperability Network. You know us military, we like in government, we love the acronyms, right, Ann? But there's a new radio network that's coming, and it's in conjunction with 6 other cities, and that's going to give us radio coverage also in time of need and crisis. You already heard about emergency preparedness, but I'll leave you with this. We have a strategic plan that Randy Collins has been working hard with a committee that Mayor Fuentes was on before me, that I've been involved with, Chris Pimentel has been involved with, council member, and we're going to measure how many people get CERT trained. That's Community Emergency Readiness Training. It's all about the metrics, in my opinion. How many people have signed up for Nixle and Everbridge as an indication of whether or not they're informed about what's going to happen? What percent of our staff are trained to deal with emergencies as they happen and respond? And then finally, we're going to do announced and unannounced drills. And I've asked, and I know the council support it, we don't care what time of day it is, pretend there's a drill right now, what would we do? Who can you reach on the council? Who can you reach on the staff? We need to be prepared for the inevitable, and we're going to work really hard to do that. By the way, if I see you on your phone, I'm sure you probably found the notes online and you're just following along with me, is that right? Because the other thing I like to do is just stand next to you and talk if I see you on your phone over there. Not to call anyone out, but all right, so moving on to goal 3. We're going to develop as a choice employer and workforce. This is one the council is very passionate about. We're moving to a performance-based culture. It's already started. We're holding people accountable. We've got metrics in all departments now. We're still refining the metrics, but we're working on those. We want to know what our productivity is like, what our service is like any business or other organization would do. We're selecting a new city manager. Greg is retiring. That was a little awkward, right? No, Greg's retiring. He's been with us a long time. He's doing a great job. Congratulations to Greg. This guy is always on, always available, and a walking encyclopedia of El Segundo. He's going to be missed, and we're going to have to do what we can to try and get all that knowledge out of your head into a repository somewhere. As it relates to employee engagement, we've already started the process. The first time 2 years ago, we started an employee engagement survey. I'm sure many of you in private industry already use that. You know how you benchmark against other organizations in your space. We haven't done that. We're now doing that. We know what our employees want, and we have a long way to go. But we hear you, we're listening, and we're working with you to be an even better workplace. We know that's critical. Under developing quality infrastructure and technology, goal 4, we've got a laundry list of capital improvements. So the stark reality is 2008, 2009, this city had to go through major structural setbacks and cutbacks. There was some natural attrition. There were many projects that were kicked down the road because we did not have the funds to deal with them. We now have the healthiest reserves ever, which I'll get to in a second, but we have a lot of capital improvement needs. Anyone want to throw out a number, small town like ours? How much do you think we have in terms of capital improvement needs in dollars? Anyone? 100 million, close, 50 million. Go on, you like go big, Councilman Nickel, huh? 50 million is a lot. So we're looking at a 20-year roadmap to get these projects done and prioritizing the ones that we think are the most important, working with our constituents to get there. We've got new playgrounds coming at Holly and Valley, Acacia, Washington Parks. We've got in Washington Park, I should say, a new entryway sign at Main and Imperial. You all know the one, right? It's going to be beautiful. We've got a task force working on that now. Downtown lighting. Anyone notice the lights? They were in the video, and if you've been downtown at night and you're El Segundo Brewing or Rock and Brewed Sausalito, it's beautiful. We're going to do more of that in El Segundo. Uplit, that's coming. It's actually, I understand Barbara said it was actually underway this week. That's coming. We will be renovating the plunge. Okay, where's my mom? We will be renovating the plunge. She contributed to my campaign too, you know. We are working with the high school to redesign the teen center. That's actually happening too. So that's a really cool civic project where the teens are coming in with their ideas in real life and presenting them in a mock council day that Suzanne brought back several years ago. So we're going to take their input and we're going to implement that with the teen center. We are restoring multi-sport athletic fields. Like Richmond really needs some help. We're working with the school district on that. We've got a new Partners in Park program. The LA Kings is helping with the inline hockey rink. AYSO Soccer has paid for shade structures at Campus El Segundo. Thank you to both of those organizations. And the school district, they're doing incredible things at Richmond Street Field. They're going to be adding a parking lot that can be shared for our residents and the users of the park. And they're going to make that, with help from the city, they're going to make that facility beautiful, and it's going to benefit softball, baseball, soccer, and many other sports. So that's exciting stuff. We're also looking at, we know, who's in Smoky Hollow? Anyone have an office in Smoky Hollow? I have a property there. Well, if you're there, you know the data connections aren't that great. So we're evaluating enhanced fiber connections in Smoky Hollow. We're looking at different solutions there. El Segundo Boulevard is being redone. Now, the potholes are already being fixed. I think Ken Berkman and his group has been working on that. They became problematic recently with the rains. Thank you, Ken, for jumping on that with your crew. But in 2021, we're going to spend somewhere around $6 million probably to redo El Segundo Boulevard. It's going to be beautiful. You'll also see some changes down towards Main Street as we add parking in Smoky Hollow. We're piloting one block now, and eventually we'll get parking along all of El Segundo Boulevard. And then Raytheon is doing some really exciting stuff. I just learned today that, Continental Development, Mar Ventures, they've been working on this Raytheon property, El Segundo Boulevard and PCH, for quite some time. Raytheon, by the way, is expanding. They're hiring like crazy. I understand Northrop's hiring as well. But Raytheon is taking some of that idle land there on El Segundo Boulevard, and they're building a complex of industrial, creative office space, not industrial, but creative office space, retail, restaurant, and medical. So Torrance Memorial is going to be occupying the hospital, some space right there. And how many square feet was that? 40,000 square feet of medical right there on El Segundo Boulevard. So that's really exciting stuff too. Automation. I've already touched on this. There's cities out there like Monrovia that are doing really cool things about saying, why are we still using this dial-a-ride program? Let's leverage Uber, Lyft, other technologies, save our taxpayers money, and provide a better level of service. So we're going to study that this year and things like that. And again, we're going to leverage technology everywhere we can to eliminate manual processes and improve efficiency. This is interesting. Who knows what's going on with Nash Street and Park Place? Anyone? Anyone? No? Good. This is new news. Scott, you're the only one in the room. So essentially, Nash kind of dead ends right now. This is all the Raytheon land that I was talking about, and it will connect to Hughes Parkway, so it'll be another way to bypass PCH and part of El Segundo Boulevard. And eventually, Park Place will connect too. Right now, you have two railways here going, but Park Place will connect. There's a lot of exciting land here that's going to be untapped for development. So some groups of people in this room have the options on, I believe. So there's some really exciting things coming. That's a major project that's been underway for, 10, 12 years. I can't remember when this was last conceived or first conceived, but it's working with the South Bay Council of Governments, Metro, Measure R, potentially Measure M funds. Mark, we could use your support on this. And where's Mayor Robert Pullen Miles? Yeah, we need your support on these things, man, because this is going to do so much for the local economy. So I just want to share a little bit about that. We need our fellow politicians to help support this as well. All right, last goal for our strategic plan is to champion economic development and fiscal sustainability. In terms of new projects, Hackman, Mike, where are you at? Hackman Capital? They built Culver Studios in Culver City, amazing project and opportunity there. They're taking Northrop land, the former airplane manufacturing site at the north end of Douglas, and they're building 350,000 square feet of creative office space. It's going to be incredible. And they're looking at major anchor tenants potentially coming into El Segundo. Top Golf. Who's happy Top Golf's finally coming? That's it? Okay. Councilman Nickel and Councilman Pimentel have been working really hard behind the scenes to negotiate on that, and it's finally coming. We're just working out the deal points. Thank you to both of you for making that happen. I know Carol, Don, and I are thankful for all your efforts there. AC Hotel. You guys heard of them? I think it's a Marriott brand, or now Marriott in Starwood. Brand new hotel, rooftop bar coming east of PCH. Pretty cool, right? All right, you know what? We're going to try something. Work with me here. Ready? Deo. Deo. I'm going to look at you if you're not singing. Ready? We're doing it again. Are you ready? Deo. Deo. Oh, you guys, man, come on. All right. More coffee and tea, Ann. Bring it on, please. All right. I always wanted to be a lounge singer, so I don't really have much hope of that ever. I've just established that is never going to happen. Ava Air, Chinese Airway, they're building an incredible new facility right across the street from Campus El Segundo. They're office condos. They're going to occupy, I think, 1/5 of the space. That's coming. Smoky Hollow, Wiley Laboratories, and there's a group that wants to take a lot of that land and build an incredible complex there of creative office space. Smoky Hollow Industries, Mark Tellis, I don't know if Mark's here. He's doing some amazing things over there in Smoky Hollow as well. And, here's an interesting thing. We are considering residential on the west side of PCH for the first time ever. I hear an applause over there. Okay, somebody likes that idea. Still has to go through the Planning Commission, west side of Pacific Coast Highway. East side, thank you. No, west side. West side, I had it right. West side of PCH. Not west of PCH, west side of Pacific Coast Highway. Think former Hacienda Hotel. Think really underutilized parking lots that could potentially be used for residential and still keeping some parking as well. So it's still a long way to go on that, but it's being considered right now, and I think it's already going before Planning Commission. Is that right, Greg? We just received the application. Okay, just received the application. More to come. The Lakers and Kings, great partners to our city, they're launching esports. So they realize, just like Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, by the way, interesting stat, what category, some of you know this, what category provides the most opportunity for athletic scholarships in college? I just gave it away. Thank you. Esports. Can you believe that? It's true. So a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon. Obviously, there's a lot happening there. Kings and Lakers are using it as a way to reach their fans. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong is building an esports studio and other utility complex right next to the LA Times. He realizes that is the way to reach people is through esports, one way, also media. Dr. Patrick, it's hard to keep up with. I introduced him about a month ago at the South Bay Council of Government General Assembly, and in the 4 minutes I stood next to him ready to introduce him, he spit out like 13 new ideas I'd never heard before. I was like, I don't even have a pen, Dr. Patrick. And then, Vic, where are you at? Southern Cal Edison. He said, we were stuck here, Edison. Vic, on it, boom, within an hour, right? Email them. That's kind of how we work as a city. We get things done. We work with our partners. It was incredible. He is bringing very interesting battery technology using zinc that he wants to build in El Segundo. He's already taken entire cities in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Central America entirely off the grid using zinc battery technology that are, by the way, replenishable naturally. He's building a scooter that can go 40 miles. He's going to build that here in El Segundo. He's solving cancer with killer cells and spinning them back up and then putting back in your body through immunotherapy, FDA trials right here in El Segundo. So Greg and I sat down with him once at the LA Country Club planning for the LA Street Festival, and he had a map. Greg brought a map of El Segundo, and he's like, he's going to give you a run for your money, Richard, because he's like, who owns that land? Oh, yeah, who's got this one? Okay, what about over here? And he just was like a kid in a candy shop. So exciting stuff happening. Barbie just turned 60. My daughter would be happy for me saying that rightly. And El Segundo is hip. No, I mean that. We are hip. Might not look like it the way I'm dressed, but James, Sawzall, Slice and Pint, they all have waiting lists. When was the last time you went to a restaurant in El Segundo and you had to wait on a table? It's happening here in El Segundo, is one other indicator. Financial strength. Largest financial reserves in history, in absolute dollar-wise. And we worked really hard because we know it's not if, it's when the next correction is hitting. There are already some indicators. The yield curve has already gone inverted. There are other indicators out there. Corporate debt is higher than it's ever been. There are already indicators out there that say that we are on the verge of another one. Be it a year, be it 2 years, doesn't matter. We want to be prepared. We implemented arbitration agreements with our union groups for the first time. And that's important because it gives us the ability to go to the table together fairly and to mediate, as opposed to giving money to attorneys. Sorry if you're an attorney in the room. Yes. We're exploring county property tax allocation. That's been something that's been discussed way before my time. Eric Bush, former mayor, Sandy Jacobs, I'm sure that we've all talked about this. Back when Prop 13 passed, they allocated all the cities, the 88 cities in LA County, and we get a very small percentage of that. In fact, who can tell me roughly what percentage of our general fund revenue comes from business, directly and indirectly, as opposed to residents? Anyone? Who said it? 90-some%? Over 95% of this town's general fund revenue comes from business, directly or indirectly, not residential property tax. That is a unique thing in LA County. We want to fight for more of that. It's also why events like this in our business community and being responsive to them and fostering their development, that's why it's so near and dear to our heart. We're pushing hard on pension liabilities and costs. Dr. Brand, thank you for bringing this up as a major issue 3 years ago, I believe. And we've made some real headway. We've paid off debt early. We've re-amortized some of our debts. And like you heard earlier, we've saved over $6.2 million. That's real for our city. That's on a $72 million annual budget, so that's a lot of money. And we've done a headcount freeze. The council told staff, we're not going to add any headcount. Doesn't mean we won't add headcount where it's strategic and it's tied to something that's tied to our plan, like communications or economic development, something that actually can actually bring in more revenue for the city. But if we're going to add headcount here, we're going to have to offset that elsewhere. So we are not trying, I hate that word, trying. We are being fiscal stewards of our taxpayer dollars. And then when it comes to aerospace and entrepreneurial ecosystem, Van Espobati, where are you at? Van, thank you for the 30 bullet points 10 minutes before this. Just kidding. Van's awesome. I love Van. I love Starburst Accelerator. And he did give me about 18 bullet points, all of which were good. So I'm going to distill it down because this is really important stuff. LA Air Force Base is working on some really cool stuff right now. And one of the problems that I've come to learn is that the acquisition cycles of the Military Department of Defense, LA Air Force Base, they're very long. And because they're very long, they can't keep up with the most advanced technologies. So companies like Starburst Accelerator, when I first met Starburst, I guess 5 years ago, they were looking at opportunities. Where can we locate in LA County? Because what we do in Paris really well at the time is we take these small fledgling aerospace companies, it's almost like outsourced R&D, and we partner them with these big companies. Like back then it would have been, what's the huge European airliner? Airbus, thank you. And we partner those together, and they pitch them, and they support them, and they come together. And we want to do that here in LA County. And so we had an Economic Development Advisory Council meeting. Richard Lundquist happened to be sitting in that meeting, longest standing member of any committee, commission, and board. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to... This guy just made a sizable donation. I only say sizable twice because I can't remember the number, but I know it's in the hundreds of millions to Torrance Memorial. Thank you very much for everything you're doing, Richard. Appreciate that. But Richard heard the pitch and he goes, oh, you guys are looking for space? I'll give you space. I'll give you space right here at Continental Development Corp. And it was like, where's Al Kiahi? Al and I had on our economic development strategic plan, land and incubator in town, accelerator, you remember that? It was like, boom, check the box. That was like serendipity, made to happen. Starburst has been a blessing to us. They brought in so many fledgling aerospace companies. And here's what I know. Entrepreneurial space companies, they're critical to supplying the latest technologies, as I've already mentioned. And with over $3.25 billion invested in 2018 to support these companies, and that's from a lot of the big investors, Van, is that right, that are investing in these companies? El Segundo is home to Starburst, and it's the world's first space-dedicated startup accelerator. So we're really thankful to have you working with Aerospace Corp and LA Air Force Base and JPL and everyone you guys are working with. It's awesome. I want to mention one other interesting stat. WeWork, Cross Campus, LCamp, 360 Work Hub, and BizHouse. What are all those? Co-working spaces, right? Here's something I learned at Al Kiahi's Economic Development Council meeting a little while ago. We have 10% of the co-working space inventory in El Segundo. How big is El Segundo in LA County? Postage stamp, 5 square miles. 2 square miles refinery, 2 square miles commercial, 1 square mile residential. We have 10% of the entire co-working space inventory. That alone should tell you that we've got young, hungry, innovative companies coming to town. All right, well, here are the 5 goals again. I always like to tell people what I'm going to tell them what I told them. This is what I told you. Got it? Okay. But here's what I want to end with. This city is really a conundrum of sorts. We're small, but we are a mighty, mighty city. I would argue, and I think we can back this up, validate this, that we are the most important 5 square miles of all of Southern California's economy. I believe that. And I think, Barbara, where you at? Needs you to make sure we can validate that later. I know she's here somewhere. We're leading in aerospace, professional sports, media, and biotech. You already saw it. It's clear. We're a charming, quaint, and we're an absolutely neighborly small town. Mike Block, where are you at? CEO of W Promote, grew up in Manhattan Beach, started working at El Segundo, realized, dude, I would never go back to Manhattan Beach. Just kidding. But he loves it here, and he lives here with his family, and he's raising his kids here. Right, Mike? Yes, sir. Just hasn't joined Kiwanis in El Segundo. He's still Kiwanis, Manhattan Beach. That's okay. And we're a beach city that many people don't even know have a beach. Right? You saw that we rebranded El Segundo, or Sepulveda Highway, Pacific Coast Highway. That's an effort to help change people's mindset about who we are. And all these kind of unique aspects make El Segundo an amazing place to live, to work, and to play. I'll just end with a quick thing. Anyone know we have a new aquatics facility in town? $13.8 million. Guess who in the room put up the lion's share of the money? Richard Lundquist. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Wiseburn. Wiseburn donated the land for that money and gave a lot of money as well. Thank you very much to all of you guys. But I bring it up because that idea started long ago. The Bryony family, Barbara, I see you here. I'm sure Mike's here as well. Remind me to tell Mike about how I chased down his doppelganger at the airport the other day, Salt Lake City, thinking it was him. It was the most awkward moment ever. Anyway, people like that started with an idea many, many years ago. We need a pool. Okay, it won't work here next to the high school. Where can it work? Like an entrepreneur, thinking through all the barriers and obstacles, knowing that they needed to persevere and build something that the community really wanted. So now we have a pool. It came together with the help of people in this audience, former mayors, Sandy Jacobs, Mayor Eric Bush, Suzanne Fuentes, Carl Jacobson, Bill Fisher, Dr. Don Brand, who is the superintendent at Wiseburn, Blake, and all the folks there, the city manager, the city staff. It really took a village. And we have this incredible pool, $13.8 million. Is a world-class aquatics facility. And it's kind of an example, I think a shining example of how we can get really big things done as a small city by working together and collaborating. Now we just got to figure out who the heck's going to end up in the pool, right, Scott? That's been kind of a difficult, it's a good problem to have, is who goes in the pool. Anyway, with that, I want to thank you. It's been a real honor. Thank you very much, Colonel Eigel. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for supporting El Segundo. Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you so much, Drew. We appreciate your leadership, your visions, your vocal stylings. It's all fabulous. Thank you so much. Before we conclude the event today, hold on a second here. As Drew mentioned, Greg Carpenter is retiring after many, many years of public service to El Segundo, to Long Beach, to various communities. And the Chamber is grateful for the support. We've loved working with Greg for all these years. And we've heard he's going to be spending a lot of time in his retirement home, not an actual retirement home, in his, rephrase that, in his house meant for retirement in Paso Robles. Paso Robles, right? So he's been a great part of the City of El Segundo team, a great leader. So the Chamber wanted to present him with something he can use for his future in Paso Robles. So we have this Paso Robles wine tasting team for Greg. That's for you, Greg. There you go.
Thank you.
And this is for training. That's a training thing for your team.
Cool. Thank you. I just want to thank the Chamber. We've been great partners, and as the mayor said, it really takes a lot of us to get things done. The city manager, the big secret is the city manager doesn't do a whole lot. I have a great team that helps me get things done, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg, and good luck in your retirement. Before we leave, I'd like to thank our sponsors again for today. City of El Segundo, our presenting sponsors, Chevron, Continental Development Corporation, LAWA, Los Angeles World Airports, and Raytheon. Thank you all. And thank you. Our corporate sponsors, Bree Hotels and Resorts, the Drew and Lee Boyles families of companies, 1-800 Got Junk, Hathaway, You Move Me, El Camino College, Mar Ventures, Mattel, and Southern California Edison. And our table sponsors, Aerospace, Boeing, Cal Private Bank, Edco Disposal, El Segundo Education Foundation, El Segundo Unified School District, El Segundo Kiwanis Club, Los Angeles Lakers, NRG, Paskin Management Corp., Pediatric Therapy Network, Rotary Club of El Segundo, Kiwanis Club, I think I said Kiwanis, Smoky Hollow Industries, Teledyne Controls, and W Promote. What a great community we have. We also would like to thank the Air Force Base again. Colonel Eigel, thank you. You and your team are just outstanding. We're very, very grateful. I don't know whether it's a protocol, but I want to give a shout out to Captain Blanchett. He is a wonderful, wonderful young man, and we loved working with him. Carla Rose Pryor, Greg and Greg's team, and Patty's team at the catering. Everyone was fabulous. So thank you very much. And we'd also like to thank Barbara Voss and the City of El Segundo and the Community Cable Guys for that great video. How fun is that? It was fabulous. Thank you so much for that. Couple housekeeping, if your birthday is close to today, please take the centerpiece, or y'all can decide who gets a centerpiece at your table. The base also asks us to let you know you will be exiting out the Aviation Boulevard exit, and there will be airmen to direct you in the right direction. We want to thank you for being here today. We are so lucky. Drew, again, thank you for a wonderful State of the City. Colonel Eichel, thank you, and we hope to see you at future chamber events. Have a great day.